You guys are having an affair, aren't you? I've heard that affairs are common among older couples, but I never thought there would be such fools doing that so close to home. Take an affair? Do you have any proof? I do. Mom took some photos. This is a mess. True. Well, it's probably for the best. If we've been caught, no use crying over spilled milk. Hey, bring it here. Retaliation, in collaboration with my mother, had caught my sister and my husband in their affair. And I intended to confront them with the evidence, but the situation took an unexpected turn. Sign on the divorce papers. I've already filled in my part. Hurry up and sign. If you do it now, we can file them first thing tomorrow. Are we really getting a divorce? Over an affair? I'll pay whatever it takes. After all, I plan to inherit all of Mom's estate. What? Then the whole estate. You mean the money Dad left for Mom? In front of our mother, my sister began discussing the inheritance. Seemingly not wanting to witness any more conflict between her daughters, our mother agreed to her elder daughter's demands. Fine, I won't leave a will. You can have all the money. Is that okay? Exactly. Just give me the money. Even if you tried to prevent it, I could easily claim my inheritance rights. Your mother agreed to your demands. Now sign the divorce papers. Once I signed the divorce papers, my husband happily snatched them off the table, and he and my sister left the house together. My mother promised to give all of the money her husband had left her to my sister, and I signed the divorce papers. Later, my sister and my husband disappeared from their lives as if they had eloped. Mom, was this the right thing to do? It's fine. Just wait and see. Good thing to do. My mother reassured her. Years later, after my mother passed away, my sister and ex-husband who hadn't shown up to the funeral came to the house. As promised, I, the eldest daughter, will inherit everything. There's no money for you. What? My sister exclaimed only 2 seconds after looking at my face. I was ready to execute the plan I had inherited from my mother. I'm Talia, a 47-year-old office worker. My husband, Riley, worked as a security guard, often having weekdays off. With my weekends free, we struggled to find time together in the past. However, as our marriage approached my 50s, I found the mismatched days off more comfortable. It's not that I dislike my husband, but being together all the time can be exhausting. Look, for the past decade, that's how I felt, but recently my perspective changed. Our daughter had played a buffer role between us, but she graduated from college, got a job, and moved out. Now with just the two of us at home, we spoke less. It wasn't that our relationship worsened, but being with my husband felt strangely embarrassing. With our daughter out of the house, maybe it's not a bad idea to restart our married life with fresh feelings. I was starting to feel a bit excited about this new phase in our married life, but then a small problem arose. I'm reaching my limit here. Her rheumatism is getting worse, and she's advancing in age. You should have moved here sooner. But now she's accepted the move, realizing she can't be stubborn anymore. I was worried about my mother's health, but relieved to hear she had agreed to move. My mom, Yasmin, and my sister, Kelly, had been living together. But despite her old age and some illnesses, my mother was still managing her daily life. Callie, being a nurse, had been a great comfort taking care of our mother. However, as our mother aged and with Callie working, it was getting harder for her to support our mother alone. We'd been discussing this issue for years, and I had suggested they move closer to me. It would allow me to help with our mother's care, and moving from the countryside to our town would be more convenient for them. I was reluctant at first to leave the house she had lived in for so long. She finally agreed to move this year, now at the age of 78. This place is convenient. There's a supermarket just a 5-minute walk from home. I wish we'd moved here sooner. Don't walk to the supermarket with your bad leg. If you need something, just ask someone or I'll drive you there. 6 months later, my mother and sister moved near my house. Callie found a new job and seemed to be adjusting well to her new life. Mom, initially sad to leave her home town, now seemed more lively living in the city. According to Callie, she was more energetic than when living in the countryside. Seeing her this energetic, maybe we didn't need to move after all? Well, moving is a big ordeal and expensive too. Don't worry about the money. Remember, Mom had... Right. I forgot. Oh, need to worry about that. Seeing our mother bustling around the house, the sound of her slippers tapping brought smiles to our faces. Our father passed away 25 years ago. He was a workaholic who had held an important position in his company, leaving an estate worth a little over $1 million. Normally, this inheritance would have been split between my mother, Callie, and me, but due to his constant work and the burden of his illness, he left everything to our mother in his will. Callie and I were just starting our careers then, 22 and 24 years old, and he probably thought it wasn't wise to hand over such a large sum to us at that age. We had our own incomes and knew our parents had supported each other throughout their lives, so we didn't object. However, even with the $1 million, she continued to live frugally. Come on, let's go to the supermarket before they run out of the sale detergent. We can buy up to 3 per person, so we need to hurry. It's not like the supermarkets in the countryside. They won't run out that quickly. My mother urged, ready to leave with the ad in her hand. She, determined to save $1 on detergent, looked as serious as if she were heading into battle. Living mostly on her pension, she hardly touched the money left by her father. She used it only for necessities, like the recent move, so most of the $1 million was probably still intact. Luckily intended for Callie and me, Mom always put us first, and it was evident in her actions. We wished she would use the money for herself, but it was her choice, a gift from our father, and we had no right to dictate how she should use it. Plus, given the amount, it was hard for us to intervene. So, I made it a point not to comment on how she used her money. Kelly seemed to feel the same way about not discussing money matters with Mom. Did Yasmin ask for anything specific to be bought? Actually, she mentioned we're running low on bread. Could you pick up the usual? My husband Riley asked leisurely, sipping his coffee while I was busy getting ready for work. It was a weekday, and while I had to head out, Riley was off work. As a result, it was unavoidable that I was the only one rushing to prepare for work, but I couldn't help feeling irritated at my husband, who was leisurely sipping coffee and fiddling with a smartphone, even though I knew it was unreasonable. I have to admit, I'm grateful for Riley's help. I can only visit Mom on weekends, and although Callie, being a nurse, often has weekdays off, she can't always be with Mom. Riley has stepped up to help. This means that throughout the week, one of us, either me, Callie, or Riley, is with Mom. It wasn't my idea. Riley himself suggested it. You're always visiting Yasmin on weekends, but what about weekdays? As Kelly's there, isn't she? But she works, right? She can't be with Yasmin all the time. Well, Kelly's probably with her 1 or 2 days during the week. Then Yasmin is alone for 3 days a week. Details on how to support Mom. That despite what he might think, Mom is quite healthy. And with Callie being a nurse, we're prepared for emergencies. Therefore, there wasn't really a need for my husband to help with supporting my mother. However, I appreciate that Riley willingly offered to help, especially when many people are reluctant to care for aging parents. His eagerness made me explain everything in great detail. Everything was going smoothly after Mom's move. But slowly, the situation started shifting in an unexpected direction. One weekend, with both Riley and Callie at work, I headed to Mom's house as usual, only to find it strangely quiet. Fun. Is nobody here? Mom wasn't responding to the doorbell. Allie was at work, but it was unusual for Mom to be out. I considered the possibility of her being on a walk, but also worried something might have happened inside the house. As I was about to call Callie, Mom returned, "Oh, sorry. I'm a bit late. Have you been waiting?" No, I wasn't waiting, but what's all this? Can't you tell? I went shopping. But those bags aren't from the supermarket, and you've got heavy stuff like cabbage. I could have gotten them for you. I need to do it myself sometimes. It's good exercise. Mom insisted, visibly more bent over than usual due to the fatigue from carrying heavy bags. I took the heavy shopping bags from her, feeling their weight. After letting us in, I set the bags down and immediately asked what was going on. "Why did you go shopping alone?" "I told you. I went for some exercise." "Exercise. But you bought so much." I got a little carried away. It's been a while since I went shopping by myself. "Is there anything else you need?" Though I couldn't carry milk because it was too heavy. I also chipped a bowl while washing dishes the other day, so I need a new one. And my reading glasses are bent, so I want to go to the optician. And she started listing off things she needed and places she had to go one after another. It seemed too much to remember, so she pulled out a note from her pocket. "Oh, right. I also want to go to the hardware store and the post office. And I need to visit the bank." She continued reading from her note. piece of paper torn from a postcard-sized notepad was densely filled with writing on both sides. I took a look at the note she showed me. It's so full. I have to write everything down or I'll forget. Maybe I'm starting to get dementia. Don't be silly. Hey, this electric blanket at the top of the list. Didn't you mention wanting to buy it last Sunday? Didn't Callie or Riley get it for you this week? Though I put it off because I asked them for so many other things. She quickly snatched the note back from me and put it in her pocket. Feeling something was off, I decided to wait for my sister, Kaylee, to return home to discuss it. Mom seems to be piling up things she wants us to do, filling up her notes. Do you know anything about it? Really? What did Mom say? She said she's just forgetful and needs to write detailed notes. Well, if that's what she said, then maybe it's true. Us the other day, she was in the kitchen wondering why she was there. I don't think it's anything to worry about. Callie reassured me with a laugh, suggesting I was worrying too much. Considering Callie has been living with Mom and is a nurse, her reassurance should have been enough for me. I told myself I was just being overly anxious and decided to head home. But I couldn't shake my concern about Mom, so I discussed it with my husband. Riley, just in case. Could it be dementia? Callie said it's not. If Callie says it's okay, then it probably is. You worry too much. Riley agreed with Callie. As my husband said, since Callie assured that everything was fine, it must indeed be all right. I tried to convince myself there was no issue, just like Callie and Riley, despite the nagging thoughts in my mind. However, my uneasy feeling about Mom grew stronger. The following week, I found her cleaning the bathroom. What are you doing? What do you mean? I'm cleaning the bathroom. Is that strange? It's not strange, but true, cleaning one's own bathroom wasn't odd. But I momentarily forgot my concerns. Then I remembered that bending and standing up, as required for bathroom cleaning, was quite taxing for Mom, so usually. Callie, Riley, or I would do it. No, it's bad for your legs and back. I'll finish it. I can still do this much by myself. I snatched the sponge from Mom as she was cleaning the wall and shooed her out of the bathroom into the living room. When I finished cleaning and went to the living room, I saw her trying to move the table. At her feet was a new still rolled up carpet. Apparently, she wanted to lay down a new carpet. Hey, that's dangerous and tough to do. Eat this kind of thing to us. Really? I think I can handle this much. I asked her to sit down and take care of the carpet myself. But once I finished, I decided to be straightforward about my concerns. Is it possible that Callie and Riley haven't been helping out at all? Actually, that's true. That can't be right. What are those two thoughts? And why are you so calm about this? Oh, need to shout. My ears aren't that bad. There's something more serious going on, she replied, putting her cup down and turning to face me with a serious look. I looked into her eyes, feeling anxious about what she might say. The truth is, there's something suspicious going on between Callie and Riley. Well, it's more than just suspicious, it's conclusive. What do you mean? Callie and Riley both have weekdays off, right? So they've had the opportunity to meet up at the house. It seems their relationship has progressed from there. When? Callie and Riley. They can't be involved like that. When I returned from my walks alone, I found them at home together. You know I walk slowly, right? They didn't realize I was back, and I overheard them having a conversation that strongly suggested an affair. It's too explicit to repeat. Please don't make me say it. I wanted to deny what Mom was saying, but deep down, I knew she had no reason to lie. I felt a sense of shock growing inside me. While my shock intensified, she continued. Since they started having an affair and going out together, they've been neglecting me. That's why I had to go shopping and do the house chores. Oh, it's been so tough. I envisioned her struggling with heavy shopping bags and cleaning the bathtub, trying to move the living room table. These captions, thinking about how she struggled while Callie and Riley were enjoying themselves, ignited a growing anger in me. It seemed she had skillfully managed my emotions. She knew telling me directly about the affair would shock me too much, so she led me to feel angry at Callie and Riley first. For by openly showing her struggles, she probably wanted to prepare me for the shocking revelation. Thanks to Mom, I didn't fall into despair after hearing about the affair. Instead, I was thinking about how to make Callie and Riley pay. We need proof for infidelity, right? What should we do? When you're not around, they talk about their affair in the house, right? Record their conversations and present that as proof. But for a divorce on the grounds of infidelity, you need solid evidence of the affair. But just to confront them, a recording should be enough. But how can we record their conversation? I'll lend you a tablet. Can you secretly record them for me? Is that really okay? Recording family inside your own house is fine. If it weren't, we couldn't have nanny cams or security cameras, right? But can I really do it? Don't worry. I'll teach you how to use it. Teach you how to use it. I went back home to get the tablet and showed her how to record videos. As to being nearly 80 years old, she struggled with the technology but eventually got the hang of it. Where's the tablet gone? Sorry. I fell asleep watching a drama and spilled juice on it. It's out for repair now, so just wait until it comes back. When will it be back? Not sure. They said it might take a while. Isn't there a replacement or something? Just put up with it. It's not like your phone is broken. You have the TV. The reason for the tablet's disappearance from the house was a clumsy lie, but Riley believed it. Now, all I had to do was wait for her to capture the affair conversations. However, even though I had given her the tablet, it took a while for her to get used to it and send me the videos. She says a month later, when it was becoming hard to keep up the repair excuse, the tablet finally came back. You really struggled with it, huh? There are so many video files. We were almost out of storage. I'm sorry. I couldn't get it right. Gathering evidence of infidelity was tough, but it seemed Mom had a bit of fun playing detective. The latest files showed Callie and Riley going to a hotel and having conversations that hinted at divorce. They were holding hands, looking like high schoolers in their first relationship. While not direct proof of infidelity, it was enough material to confront them. Armed with the video evidence, and I waited for Kelly's return, and I called Riley, suggesting we all have dinner at her house. Where's the food? Just sit down, I told Riley as he entered the living room and sat on the sofa. Kelly was already home, sitting there too. I had them sit together and glared at them both. They must have realized they were caught. However, neither of them seemed panicked. They were surprisingly composed. Just annoyed by their expressions. I got straight to the point. You two are having an affair, aren't you? I've heard affairs are common among older couples, but I never thought such fools would be so close to home. An affair? Do you have any proof? I do. Mom recorded it, I said confidently, playing the videos on the tablet. I expected them to start panicking, but their reaction was unexpected. Oh, we've been caught. I never thought she would use a tablet. She's never even touched a smartphone before, but she did well. True. Well, I guess it's okay now. If we're caught, we're caught. Hey, bring it here. Callie stood up swiftly and disappeared into the back of the house, only to return to the living room. Got to the living room with some documents in hand. She placed them on the table. We sign on the divorce papers. I've already filled in my part. Come on, hurry up and sign it. If you sign it now, we can submit it as early as tomorrow. Despite me having evidence of the affair and being on the offensive, Callie and my husband, smirking as if mocking me, thrust the divorce papers at me, tauntingly turning the tables. That my husband already signed on the papers gave the impression that they weren't brazenly defiant after being caught, but rather they never intended to hide the affair in the first place. I had wanted a divorce after finding out about Riley's infidelity with Callie. But not like this. It felt like admitting defeat. I wanted to sign the papers out of spite, but my frustration held me back. What's the matter? Got cold feet now? Even if you don't want to divorce, you're going to. We want to get married soon. Amazing, isn't it? But to think you can still fall in love in your 50s? And it being my wife's sister made it all the more thrilling. Are you really okay with divorcing over an affair? Talking about alimony? It's fine. I'll pay whatever. After all, I'm planning to inherit all of Mom's estate. What? All the estate? That's the money Dad left for Mom? I was unhappy when Dad's estate all went to Mom. Why didn't I get any money? You didn't complain when Dad left his will. I was young and didn't understand how inheritance worked. I didn't know about the reserved portion and thought we had to follow the will. When I learned I could have claimed $250,000, I was furious. So, I've been taking care of Mom, making sure I get my fair share this time. You just started helping recently, but I've been doing it all along. It's my right as the eldest daughter who's cared for Mom to get the full $1 million. But taking all $1 million isn't right. And bringing this up now, I felt awkward as Callie brought up inheritance in front of Mom. She remained silent and downcast. I wanted to defend Mom, but I lacked knowledge about inheritance. Well, it made sense for Callie to get more for her support, but I doubted it should be the entire amount. Yet, I couldn't articulate my thoughts and stayed silent like Mom. I always tell Mom not to write in the will to disinherit me. I'll claim my reserved portion anyway, but it's such a hassle. Kelly said, standing up and looking down at Mom. Her words were cruel, though it seemed she had been saying this to Mom without my knowledge, berating her constantly. Freely's lack of surprise at Callie's words suggested that he was aware she had been verbally abusing our mother. Riley didn't seem surprised, possibly participating in the verbal abuse too. Mom must have been frightened by their vigorous energy, hidden from me all this time. I clenched my fists, enduring my own helplessness. Then Mom finally spoke. Okay, I won't leave a will. I'll give all the money to Callie. Is that what you want? Exactly. Just give me the money. After all, I can't easily give up my inheritance rights, and I'll just claim what I need. Yasmin agreed to Callie's demands. Now hurry up and sign the divorce papers. I reluctantly signed the papers, and Riley quickly snatched them from the table, happily leaving the house with Callie. Mom must have agreed to Kay's demands to avoid further conflict between us. However, she ended up promising to give all of Dad's money to Callie. Mom, really the right thing to do. It's okay. Just watch. My mother seemed to have a plan, but after what Kalai and Riley did to me, I was left unable to think straight. The next night, they further crushed my already exhausted spirit. What? What's this? At noon, movers came and took away the stuff. It's been chaotic since the morning. When I got home from work, Riley's belongings were gone. In a panic, I rushed to Mom's house, only to find that Callie's belongings were missing too. After making me sign the divorce papers, Callie and Riley had dashed out of the house as if eloping. The divorce was eventually finalized, with Riley responding to the phone calls. However, I had no idea where the two of them were. I suspected they hadn't gone far due to work commitments. After the divorce, I moved out of the apartment I shared with Riley and started living with my mother. Well, I couldn't forgive Callie and Riley for their affair and the pain they caused. Mom seemed unfazed. Why aren't you angry? Mom? Oh yes. Maybe it's time to talk to you. I was shocked to learn that Mom had been orchestrating an incredible strategy all along. Everything seemed to have been in her hands. Years after Callie and Riley left, Mom passed away at the age of 80. Her lively nature made it seem like she might pop up at any moment joking. Just kidding. I haven't fully processed her death yet, but I dread the calm that will come after the funeral. When that time comes, I plan to mourn alone fully. However, I can't stay sad forever. I had tasked Mom entrusted me with. Just a month after the funeral, which Callie and Riley didn't attend, they showed up at the house. Callie, with a triumphant smirk, confronted me. Seconds after Callie looked at me, I confronted her with the truth, caught off guard by my unexpected words. Callie and my ex-husband briefly showed a moment of confusion. However, thinking I was merely making a futile attempt to fight back, they quickly regained their smug, confident expressions. What do you mean? That's impossible. I've already told you, you can't just easily dismiss inheritance rights. Plus, Mom promised to give me all the money, right? You might not like it, but there's no point in struggling against it. You're familiar with inheritance, right? But it seems you didn't know about the disinheritance system. Disinheritance system? What's that? But the disinheritance system is when someone commits an act that makes them ineligible to inherit. How does that relate to me? Didn't you pressure Mom not to leave a will? That's coercion, making you ineligible to inherit. What? You're saying I lost my inheritance rights because I pressured Mom? As I explained this to Callie, her composure crumbled. If she lost her inheritance rights, she wouldn't get a cent of the $1 million she was counting on. Understandably, she was panicking. Did we really threaten Mom? I don't remember such a thing. Right, it was 2 years ago. Hard to remember. We never said anything like that, Riley added, thinking they could talk their way out without evidence. But Mom had already blocked their escape route. You want to see proof? Just wait a minute. Evidence? You have it? I left Callie and Riley anxiously waiting at the entrance while I went to fetch the evidence. For Agent. Here's the proof. It's all in here. A memory card. But the both of you, it wasn't just on the day I signed the divorce papers. It seems you've been hurling abuse at Mom for a long time. I showed the infidelity videos, but Mom recorded much more. More recordings. How could you say such awful things to Mom? Like, don't leave a will giving me the money, and threatening her about what would happen if she did, and telling her to take care of herself because you were going out. As I recounted the abuse they hurled at Mom, there was no need to show the content of the memory card. The Callie and Riley's faces turned ashen. But even if you have that, can you really disinherit us? Inheritance rights can't be easily revoked, right? I've heard that before. True, you can't easily revoke inheritance rights. But disinheritance isn't about revocation. It's about being stripped of the right, automatically, regardless of the deceased or heir's intent. It doesn't matter. Callie's disinheritance is already decided. That's a lie. I'll get a lawyer and expose your lie. Feel free. I've already consulted with a lawyer who took care of Mom. He said to come to him again if you cause any trouble. So whatever demands you make through your lawyer will probably be rejected. Callie and Riley, unable to judge the truth of my words, just hung their heads in silence, just like I did back then. If you're not going to say anything, can you leave? I never want to see your faces again. After kicking them out, I prayed and reported to Mom that I had done as she instructed. Later, Callie apparently went to consult a lawyer, but was turned away after being advised. Lawyers often refuse cases they're likely to lose, so that must have been the case. This with her disinheritance confirmed. Kelly lost the right to inherit even the reserved $500,000 she was entitled to. She was furious, but it was her own doing. And blaming Mom was completely misguided. Callie and Riley had been intimidating Mom. This could be considered psychological abuse of an elderly person, potentially subject to criminal charges. However, Mom chose to overlook that. Mom, you don't have to do anything. It was just childish tantrums. My punishment was letting them find out they wouldn't get a cent after I was gone. I learned after they left that to Mom. Callie's actions were just a child's whining. That's why Mom always seemed unfazed, no matter what Callie said or did. Callie thought she was pressuring Mom, but in reality, Mom never took her seriously. Mom devised and executed a plan to disinherit Callie, but since inheritance matters are dealt with after one's passing, she couldn't complete the final step herself. That's why she asked me to finish it. Mom, who had foreseen everything and maneuvered flawlessly, only panicked once. It was when I saw her memo. She had intentionally shown it to me to make me aware of Callie and Riley's actions, but she later regretted causing me anxiety, as she hadn't been bothered by their behavior herself. In the end, I ensured Callie didn't inherit a cent, but since both she and Riley are over 50 and have jobs, I thought not getting Mom's money wouldn't hurt them much. However, Mom's punishment turned out to be a bigger blow than I expected. They had recklessly spent their savings over the past 2 years, thinking they would inherit the $1 million. Now, they are frantically trying to replan for their old age. Moreover, Riley, finding himself penniless, turned to our daughter for help. But after hearing the reason for our divorce from me, she rejected both of them. Riley not only lost his connection with me through the divorce, but also with our daughter. Callie and Riley have no one left to rely on, so they should live in the world they desired. They wanted this in the first place. Suddenly, I inherited $1 million. I find myself with no immediate need for it as I have a home and a job. I've left it untouched, planning to give it to my daughter when she needs it for marriage, childcare, or other reasons. It seems I really am my mother's daughter,